All right, welcome to the video. My name is David, and today we're going to be talking about something a little bit personal, but yeah, super valuable. You see, I'm 39, recently turned 39. My birthday was just a few months ago, and I've seen some people doing some videos where they talk about things they wish they knew back when they were 20, and I have to tell you, there's a lot of things that I wish I had known back when I was in my 20s, or at least that I can look back now and appreciate things that I did know throughout my 20s. And so I thought I would take a minute after reflecting and just kind of share something like that with you. I'm sure there's a lot more than 10, but these are the 10 that stick out right now. Maybe when I turn 40, we can do this video again. So let's get started with number one. And by the way, these are in no particular order, but I will actually be calling a couple out as number one and number two most important, but just right now they're just in a random order. Number one, take full ownership of your life. You're responsible for your future. You're solely responsible for your success, your failure, and everything that comes in between. I like the way that Andrew Tate puts it. If you get wet when it rains, it's your fault. You should have been prepared. You should have looked at the weather to know what was coming so that you could plan your day. You should have brought an umbrella, a raincoat, whatever it was. You should have been more thoughtful about how life was going, and you should have been prepared. And I feel the same way. It makes you not a complainer. It makes you more considerate and content. I actually remember a story. I'll be quick about this. I remember a story. My father-in-law and I went to the store, and I was not prepared for the rain. It's actually interesting they were talking about rain because I wasn't intending to, but it was raining. He had an umbrella, and I did not. And I wanted to own the fact that I did not bring an umbrella, and you know what? I'm going to get wet. I'm going to walk in the rain, and I'm just going to own it. Now I check the weather. I bring a raincoat. I bring an umbrella. I'm always prepared. And if not, I'm going to own it. And we'll spend a little bit more time on this because I want to hit home a little bit harder on this. As a man, I have children. I have a wife, and I'm responsible for them too, not just myself. And if something goes wrong with them in their life, to an extent, I have to take ownership of what's going on there. If I was a better dad, if I was a better husband, if anything, it's on me. It's on me what happened. So just look at everything and don't be a victim. You're responsible for yourself and the things that happen to you. Even if they seem like they're out of your control, look closer, because there was probably something now you can look back on and say, if I would have done this, situations would have been different, and now you can be more prepared for the future. Next up, create multiple streams of income. I don't know if I can harp on this enough. This right now, me making this YouTube video is a second stream of income, and this video will stay on YouTube for as long as YouTube will let it, and I can put it in other places and it can generate revenue. On top of that, I also create some little content to sell, like educating people on marketing and YouTube and stuff. Actually, in the description of this video, you'll probably find a free ebook helping people with YouTube channels. So shameless plug there. But the point is don't rely on just having a job. If you don't make other sources of income, I mean, you're probably going to invest and save for retirement or something like that, but create other ways of creating income. Rental properties. I don't have any, but I've always thought it'd be cool. Starting other business. Invest in a business. Whatever it takes to have like a bit of a side hustle, I really want to encourage that, because you're supposed to diversify. And if you don't diversify, just have a job, you could lose your job today and be out of all the money. All the cash flow that you're used to will be completely gone if you lose your job. And you don't have to lose your job because you got in trouble and you got fired. It could be the business went under. It could be that you need to have surgery and you have to miss a month of work because you're in some sort of recovery. Maybe you got in a car accident or something. Something serious in your life could happen. And that's what emergency funds are for. But wouldn't it be great if not only did you have an emergency fund, you also had other sources of income that wasn't reliant on you actually being at your job? The ultimate goal is to one day retire, not having to work at a full-time job, and instead rely on your retirement savings and or other sources of income that you've built. And just remember, you can move from job to job, but those other sources of income that you build will follow you everywhere you go. So I'm going to stop harping on that, but that's a big part of what I talk about on this channel to start with. Next up, invest in your future, not just the present. Now, it's kind of obvious you need to be saving for retirement. And I don't mean retirement as in like when you're 70 and you're old and you just need some money to carry you through. I like the idea of retiring early, not needing a job. I haven't done that. I've been contemplating it and thinking about it and desiring it, but I hadn't taken action for a long time. I gotta say, I remember people when I was early on in my military career, people were investing and I had no idea. How do they know what stocks to get and all these things? I had all kinds of questions and I just never took action. I always was spending more going out to the bar, buying some clothes or something. I always spent more than I actually should and never actually spent any money on investing. I think rich people buy assets, poor people buy Rolexes. So it's Rolex can go up in value. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like cash flow assets, things that make you more money tomorrow. But it's not just the money part that you're investing in. I think it has some application to your future wealth, but you could be investing in education. I really do believe that college education is important, especially when you're young. I can go back to college now. I'm almost 40. I can go back to college now, but it's much harder to do when you have kids and spouse and full-time job and side hustles like this. It's much better to do it when you're young. Not only is it easier to do because you have less responsibility, it's also easier to do because financial aid and stuff is much more available to you at that time. And I think even if you don't know what you want to do in your future, still going to college and getting your degree, just make sure you're actually participating in the education. Don't party and waste your time. Be responsible, do the thing. And that investment, I think, will pay off. It statistically shows that when you have a college education, you're going to make more in the future. You'll stay healthier, just all kinds of stuff. It's just, there's a lot of statistical benefit to having a degree. And you'll never regret having a degree. I've never heard of anybody that got a degree other than people that went into debt to do it. I've never heard of anybody saying, I wish I didn't get a degree. They might, I don't know. I don't think anybody's ever regretted it. And I hate the argument of people saying, well, you know what? I went to college or I could have gone to college, or I might go to college, but it's going to keep me from starting the business that I want. I mean, if you're Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs or Bill, what's that guy from Microsoft? If you're one of them people and you're in your garage going to college and you're smarter than the professors and you're going to build something that's going to change the world, you're like 1 in a billion people. But go for that. But statistically, college is going to be good for you. For worst case scenarios, you meet some people and have some relationships. You might meet your wife or your husband. Just go and enjoy. I wish I would have. If I could go back in time, I would have. I did get a little bit of college through the military, but having that college experience, I think I wish I would have had it. But even if you don't go to college, we're going to go a little bit farther into this on this education thing. You can invest in courses. Me personally, I got out of the military. I didn't really have a background in marketing, but I had like this desire for it. I started taking courses, these gurus that put together courses, and I spent over $10,000 on courses, and I learned a lot. And some things were waste or some things were duplicate, and I was able to learn. And now I have a job as the marketing manager of a big e-commerce company. And that's not an argument against getting a college education. That's just an argument to say, hey, just invest in your future, whether it's informal education, formal education, or just putting some money aside so that one day you have something there to take care of you. On the financial side, the earlier you start, the less you have to do, and the bigger impact it'll have based off that compound interest. All right, I'm moving on. Next, be content, but stay ambitious. I know that kind of sounds like an oxymoron, but I do believe that contentment and ambition can live in the same place. You see, the ambition drives you forward. It helps you to always be thinking of the next step and never really settling for what is currently your life, always wanting to progress and get to the next step. Not a step, but like the next level, right? But the contentment is good because it helps you stay grounded and peaceful and not be anxious and overwhelmed by all of the things that are possible, but you're just not doing. I think there's a real balance that you have to draw there, because being overly ambitious will make you probably get into risks that you don't really need to be a part of. And being too content will make you not actually driven. So you have to find this balance between ambition and drive and contentment and peace. We'll leave that where it is, short and sweet, but it's big and powerful. All right, here's the fifth thing. You only get one body, and you should treat your body that way. I've been very bad to my body. I've been good about it in some ways, but bad about it in other ways. I don't work out as much as I should. I eat way too many sweets and way too much junk food. I smoked for like 10 years, and I'm probably going to have some residual effects from the smoking in my future. I've gotten my weight down. If you look at some of my earlier videos from this year, I've been on the carnivore diet, and I lost like 80 pounds. I'm feeling pretty good. But that is in my 30s or late 30s. What happened to me during my early 30s and late 20s and when I wasn't in the military. So I had put on quite a bit of weight, and that was not good for me. So I don't know what kind of long-term effects that's going to be, but if you can stay focused, I think we all from early age want to do good things, but it doesn't, when you're in your early 20s, you can pretty much get away with anything and you're still going to stay pretty slim. But there's a lot of issues with alcohol and things that can affect things inside of your body that you don't realize. Or starting smoking, you don't even realize that smoking is doing anything to you until you get too far down the road. So just remember, you only get one body, and that body's got to carry you all the way to the end of your life. And the healthier you can keep it, the more mobile you're going to be as you get older. All right, number 6. While this is number 6, this is the most important one of all. Above all things on this list and any list you'll ever hear from anybody else in the whole world, get right with God. Get right with your Maker. I don't know if you're a believer. If you're not a believer, I don't know what your background is. But if I could go back and do it all back over again, my daily life and walk with God would be a lot more thoughtful. I am now. My prayer life and my education and focus on God and Jesus is a lot more whole and fulfilling. But if you focus your time on everything else and you don't get this right, you might have a nice 100 years here on earth, but what happens afterwards? I would encourage you to look into Christianity, but if that's not your thing, then you do you. But whatever it is, you need to be confident that that's what you believe. And of all things, the creator of this world, the master of our afterlife, that's a lot bigger than this YouTube channel or anything else in the whole world. So I feel like that's the most important thing. I would just encourage you to get as close to your Maker as you possibly can, and know in your heart that you're on the right path spiritually. All right, next up, admit when you're wrong and learn from it. It's tough to admit when you're wrong and when you made a mistake, or if you hurt somebody but you didn't mean to. They're still hurt. Their feelings are still hurt, and it's time to apologize. Swallow your pride and just do the right thing. And this Grant Cardone, he's really cool. I like him. He talks a lot about move fast, take action quickly, and you'll either get where you're going much faster, or you'll find out you were going the wrong way much faster, and you can take corrective actions faster. So even very successful people in the world are recognizing when they're wrong. You have to. And you also have to learn to adjust. So it's very important, especially in relationships, to be humble enough to be able to say, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Or in business, to be able to say, you know what, that was the wrong direction. Let's change this up. Let's adjust. Something like that. Just be open to some critique and criticism and try not to take things so personally. Number 8, never give up no matter what. I have to say, there's been a lot of struggle in my life, especially early on in childhood, but pretty much all the time, there's always something that I'm struggling with. You can't let struggle make you quit. It can't make you quit this life. It can't make you quit your YouTube channel. It can't make you quit your diet. You've got to keep going and staying strong and staying consistent and persistent over everything. Don't let anything stop you. I heard this analogy recently where the guy is talking about walking in the rain. And it's interesting, we've talked about rain a couple times so far this video. But walking in the rain, if it's really heavy rain and there's a lot of wind and you have to walk in it, you don't stand straight up and you don't lean back because you're going to be unstable and you're going to fall, right? What you do in hard times is you press up against. Maybe we were talking about something in the Bible, actually. I think Paul was talking about press. Anyways, I'm rambling, but you have to lean into the pain. You have to lean into the resistance and the struggle and the obstacle, because no matter what, you keep moving forward. You don't give up. I've known a lot of people that have had to deal with being left behind because of suicide. If you need help, you're thinking about stuff like that, reach out to somebody. There's hotlines. I know that sounds a little bit impersonal, but you may not see it. But there's somebody that cares about you and you're just not noticing. And you be in some sort of a cloud. You might not be in this situation now, but if you are ever thinking about stuff like this, and let's get really deep into it, but it's a tough thing. Yeah, anyways, next topic. All right, this is number 2. I mean, it's number 9, but it's like the second most important thing. Family comes right after God. Don't underestimate the importance of your family. After God, family comes first. Nurture the relationships that you have. Spouse, parents, children, aunts, uncles, extended family. Just enjoy them because they're tied to you for a reason. And no matter what, they have to accept you because you're their blood and you'll never won't be. So, your family. All the success in the world could come to me and it'll mean nothing if my son doesn't want to talk to me anymore, if my wife leaves me, if I spent all this time trying to build a business and I missed out on spending time with my parents and they both pass away. There's nothing more important. There's the whole reason we work for success and to gain money or whatever it is that you're wanting to gain so you can come back and support your family and provide for them. Without them being there, what is the point of doing all of that stuff? So, number 2, most important thing right after your relationship with God is family. At least it is to me. I hope it is to you. And if you're my family watching this, I hope I'm number 2 right after God. So, or number 1 right after God. Make me number 2 overall. That's all right. Next thing. All right, success. It takes time, so be patient. Success in everything. If you're investing a little bit with the hope that one day in the future it'll be big. And it will be. It just takes time because of compound interest. Time is the biggest factor and multiplier that makes small investments into big results. And that goes the same for everything. If this YouTube channel, one video is not going to make me huge and make me blow up, but many videos piled on top of each other, little success after little success, in the future, 5 years down the road, maybe something cool happens. Relationships. I can't just take my wife out on one date and think forever it's going to be great. You have to have small, incremental, valuable interactions. And one day you look back and be like, wow, we have a great family life. We have a great household. House is built brick by brick, and so is our relationships, so is our wealth, so is our businesses, and so is our spiritual life. But if you stick with it and you don't give up, in time, you'll see the fruits of your labor. So keep on keeping on. All right, so those are the 10 things that I wish I knew back when I was in my 20s, or at least that I'm thankful I did know when I was in my 20s. If you're younger than me, older than me, whatever it is, if you found, I hope that some of these talking points hit you in your heart and you're able to adopt some of these, or you already are. Hopefully you don't make the same mistakes I did, but also don't be afraid to make your own mistakes. Growth comes from doing, learning, never giving up, and just being persistent, no matter how many times you stumble. At the end of the day, it's all about learning, growing, and becoming the best person you can be. So take ownership of your life, invest in yourself, and remember that your journey is your own. Hey, it's time for me to wrap this video up. If you've enjoyed it, I'd really love a thumbs up, a subscription, a comment telling me what your favorite lesson was. Also, if you're interested in watching these videos, I got another one that talks about my biggest regret. And you can watch that video right here. And I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.